Hello, so I'm going to talk about metaprogramming isn't real. It can't hurt you. What? It doesn't work like the enter key? Oh, what? Sorry, the slide doesn't work. Oh, yeah, okay. Saudi crap. Yeah, I try to learn like a local language for the like say hello in local language in the talk. So I'm going to talk about metaprogramming. But first of all, raise your hand if you are familiar with metaprogramming. You think, much more than I expected. Okay, so raise your hand if you like metaprogramming. Well, a lot. And raise your hand if you hate metaprogramming. Dislike. Oh, okay. Oh, more people like it. I hope so, yeah. So the title includes this phrase, isn't real, it can't hurt you. It comes from this animal. Yeah, I came across this meme a few months back. It's called Scow Cow. And so I saw that meme and I thought, metaprogramming is like a Scow Cow of that animal. What does it mean? Well, it actually does not exist, but some people feel fear. Let me explain. So the full memes looks like this. So my therapist, you need to stop fixating on Scow Cow. It's not real and it can't hurt you. So like this therapist tries to persuade the client, relief. Like don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. It's not real. But in this meme, it's real. I don't know. But anyway, so this is my inspiration for this talk. So in the meme, there's a therapist. So in this talk, me as a therapist is trying to convince you that you don't have to be afraid of metaprogramming. Okay, and me. Let me introduce myself. I'm Masa. My full name is Okura Masafumi. It's also my handle. Unfortunately, in Japan, family name comes first, and given name comes last. So my first name is Masafumi. So and it's okay to call me Okura, but it's kind of weird maybe. And I work as a freelance web developer in Japan, and I do something otherwise than work. So I founded and organized a conference called Kaigen Rails, which I'm going to talk about a little bit later. And I organized some Ruby meetups communities in Japan. I gave a talk a few times. Like last year, I gave a talk at Rails conference and RubyConf Taiwan, Ruby and Friendly RB. And I maintain some open source projects. The Alba is one of the most famous work from me, and I'm going to talk about it later. And yeah, like as a freelance programmer, I always look for good things about job opportunities. So please talk to me if you're interested in it. Anyway, I'm from Tokyo, so I'm from Japan, Tokyo, and it's the first time to visit Bangkok, visit Thailand. So it's really an exciting moment. And yeah, I'm from Japan, and in the arena's keynote the first day, Japan was mentioned as a different country, and I kind of agree. I mean, because Japan is a home country for Ruby, so Matt lives in Japan, so definitely, we can welcome Matt as keynote speakers kind of easy, But like we have only 2 Japanese here out of 200, and another one is Yuji giving a talk yesterday. So like I want to welcome more people from Japan next time in RubyConf Thailand. So please have a next RubyConf Thailand so that I can invite more people. And let me talk about Kaigen Rails a little bit. So Kaigen Rails is a tech conference, of course, focusing on Rails, but also web in general. So for example, we had a talk about Next.js, for example. And so if you know RubyKaigi already, or if you've been there, it sounds similar. It's confusing, I'm sorry. But Kaigi means conference in Japanese, so it's kind of inevitable. Anyway, so RubyKaigi focuses on Ruby's language internals. while we, Kanye Rails, focus on the product side, like this conference and many other conferences. And last year we had 2 keynote speakers. One is Samuel Williams, who's the creator of async toolkits, right? And this year it's in October 16th and 17th. It's Friday and Saturday. So if you are interested in joining conferences in Japan, in Tokyo, or if you want to have some good reasons to visit Japan anyway, please save the date. You know, October is a good season to visit Japan. Visit Tokyo especially, I bet. Wait for a few seconds to take a photo. Okay. Yeah, speaker note here. This T-shirt is so actually the same T-shirt is like this. I'm wearing the green version, and this is orange version, and I have several there. So if you want to grab it, please talk to me, and I will give it. Like varieties of sizes, like from medium to XXL. So I hope it fits. But interestingly, this is orange. This is the staff T-shirt. But in Thailand, orange means Buddhist priest. So yesterday I asked like local people, like please take it. Then it looks like a priest. Sorry. And let me talk about Alba a little bit. So Alba is a gem I created. I started to create on 2020. And Alba looks like this. So it has more than 2 million downloads now. It's a JSON serialization library for Ruby, JRuby, and TruffleRuby. It's one of the fastest JSON serializers out there. And I created it because I was not satisfied with the existing solutions. Like, do you know active model serializers? Maybe you've already used it. Yeah, it was slow, and it is still slow. I wanted to make it faster, so I created this one. And yeah, so zooming here, so like it looks better. And version 3.10 is the latest version, which was released 3 months ago, right? No, 2 months ago? 3 months ago, yes. And version 1.0.0 was released at 2021 April, which means 40 months have passed since not 40 months, I calculated wrong, no, much longer. Sorry, I cannot do math. Anyway, and I wanted to know how many commits are there in between. So I ran this command. Git log takes a range as an argument, and then I put 1-line flag so that each commit has one line. Then pipe it into WC command to count a line, which means counting the commit number. Then the result was 894 in the version from version 1 to version 3.0 or 3.10, which is interesting. So I created kind of the evolution. The last one, that person is sitting again. It's yeah, it's just a random photo, but it's an evolution of Alba, kind of. And through that evolution, I saw the evolution of metaprogramming too. So that's why I talk about Alba here. So here's the agenda for today. The first topic is the introduction to metaprogramming. The second topic is metaprogramming usage and evolution in real world. So Alba is used not all of the world, not everywhere, but still it has 2 million downloads. So I can say it's used anyway in real world. So I want to talk about it as an example. And the third topic is lessons and thoughts from the experience. And the last topic is the conclusion. So the title comes here, right? Okay. So thank you. Yeah, let's go to the first topic, introduction to metaprogramming. What is metaprogramming? And then, so when I think about what is blah, 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 I always consult with Wikipedia because I'm a big fan of Wikipedia. I read it all the time. I read Wikipedia for the whole day. I can read, random articles, and I've donated it a few times, more than a few times, I guess. According to Wikipedia, metaprogramming is a computer programming technique in which Computer programs have the ability to treat other programs as their data. Okay, fine. By the way, do you know this book? Have you read the book already? Raise your hand. You've already read the book. Metaprogramming Ruby 2 or 1, it doesn't matter. Okay, it's highly recommended book for Ruby enthusiasts. Of course, I'm a fan of it. And I've read the book in Japanese translated version, which looks like this. It looks different. Can you read the first line, the toppest line? It's called Metaprogramming. It's metaprogramming in Japanese. And by the way, so according to the book, metaprogramming is writing code that writes code. Right? Better. Which is more easier to understand expression of metaprogramming. Good. So, but what are the examples? So like the code that writes code. So the most obvious example is define method, right? Because method is code. So a method that defines a method means a code that defines a code. It's the exact definition, right? And eval is kind of the same. A kernel eval is a method that treats strings as Ruby code, but string is a data, but it treats it as a code. Object send is kind of similar. It's a method that treats an argument as a method name. So method name means it's a logic, but the argument is a data. It's kind of metaprogramming, of course. And there are more examples. Class inherited and basic object method missing. It does tricky things, like mentioned in today's keynote, right? So it does something when Ruby does something, but method missing is invoked when Ruby detects, oh, the method doesn't exist, right? And scope changes, such as instance eval. By the way, it's my favorite Ruby method. So it mimics as if the current self is different, is that object. So it's easy to change the current context in Ruby, and it's a really important trick for DSL and metaprogramming in general. And the class new is a method that returns a new class that is defined dynamically, so you don't, using class keywords is not the only way, right? And the important thing is that class can be anonymous. So have you debugged RSpec code and you see the weird class which is nameless? That's defined by this one. And much more complex examples are here. So you don't have to remember it. Actually, you don't have to use it at all, basically. Refinement is something like open class or monkey patching, but it's smarter or it's different. It's encapsulated into the file scope, which is really difficult to understand. The most difficult to understand one is trace point. Have you ever used trace point? Oh, why? Why? What brought you there? I mean, it's a hook like method missing, but hooks around the code. So it even invokes the code for new line, each new line. But it can easily break everything, basically. And binding, so maybe you know binding through the binding.irb, right? But binding can do much more. Binding, basically, it's an object representing the current environment, including local variables. It's used, so I use it inside Alba to create a if keyword argument. So it's interesting that we can have if keyword argument, but we cannot refer it with if name, because if is a keyword. Then what should we do? Well, we can use binding.local variable get to get the if keyword argument. It's kind of weird. All right, let's go to the next topic, the real world usage. So I want to cover two topics, and one is conditional attributes. It looks like this. So well, let me explain it first. So in Alba, it provides a nice DSL to define attributes with attributes. It looks okay, right? but take a look at the if part. So it's a condition. So in this case, so we want to serialize ID, name, and email. But if email is nil, then it skips. the attribute, the key itself, right? And below, there are the many posts, but it also has if condition. In this case, if the param of include post is given, then only that time it serializes posts with title. You can read it, right? Well, how do we achieve this interface? And the second one is performance and error-prone code, which is more tricky and it is more fun. All right. So here is the new Vim. Oh, so I forgot to mention this, but I'm a big fan of Vim. I've been using it for 12 years now, from Vim version 7 or something like that. I forgot. But anyway, so this is an example of so it's the same one in the slide, right? Well, so this is if keyword, right? And let's see how I implemented that feature in Alba 1. So this code is for Alba version 1, not for the latest. And let's search define def attributes, and it's here. And it looks really simple. So if there's a if option, this time it's not keyword argument, it's option, it's hash. Then use an array representing condition. So it's a tricky. So I treat this as kind of tuple, not array, tuple, the pair of data. The left side, left hand is an actual attribute, and right hand is condition, right? And we put that data into the underscore attributes hash. What is this? Well, basically, it's just a hash. And here, we map each attribute into the real JSON, but actually it's a hash to generate JSON. And if it's an array, then okay. If it's array, then it should be conditional attribute. Then we invoke conditional attribute method. And here I already use metaprogramming in version 1. So an arity. Have you ever used arity method on proc? A few. Great. You were seasoned Rubies, right? So arity. So first of all, this condition is proc or lambda, which basically is used to store the code to be executed later. But I wanted to optimize the code a little bit. So I want to check if the proc, block takes one argument or two arguments. If it's one argument, then it's easier to do it. This line. If it takes only one argument or maybe 0, then just call the proc. We can call it. Then if it's false, then the condition is met. Skip it. Return empty array. And if the condition passes, then it goes through. And here, and again, if the arity is more than 2, or it basically means it's 2, then we can call call proc, but this time with the fetched attribute. So what I wanted to do is that if we do this all the time, but maybe this attribute, the second one, is just a waste of time and resources, right? But then, so I wanted to check the attribute here. So it's an optimization. So so this is the metaprogramming metaprogramming knowledge is useful. I knew the arity and how to use it, so that I did some optimization here. But it's really inside the implementation details. It doesn't affect the conditional attribute interface itself. So actually, the interface is the same, exactly the same as version 1 and version 3.0. How does it look like in the latest version? Well, not here. Here. Def attributes But this time, since many things changed, and there are many methods that start with attributes, so now we have 3 results. The last one, this one, is the attributes method for version 3.10, which looks different. Now, if is a keyword argument here, right? It's not an options. Why? Because I wanted to implement type features in ABA, which requires option place only for types, which I won't cover in this talk. Then, if it cannot be inside option hash, it's impossible basically. So that I needed to extract it into the keyword argument. But then this trick which I mentioned in the previous slides, binding the local variable get if, and then I store the if value here. Like if I do something like this, then it's a syntax error, right? Well, then assign attribute is here. It's a body. It looks kind of the same, but this time it's I implemented a new class for conditional attribute, which is named as conditional attributes. Inside the conditional attributes, we have with passing condition method here, and many things is going on here. I use yield instead of call. Basically, essentially it's the same. And with to arity proc condition method, which is basically the same as version 1, but it's slightly different to check if the condition is actually a proc or not. And this second object is similar to what I did in version 1, but it's more sophisticated. So because the evolution of Alba, there are so many new features, so that if the body is these symbol basically is just attributes ID, name, email, that kind of thing, and association is many, and typed attributes is a newly introduced one, then use send, metaprogramming technique, right? Send. But if it's nested attributes, which is also a newly introduced feature, then just ignore it. Nothing exists like that. And if it's proc, then use instance exec, which is another metaprogramming technique, to get the correct second object. So to support the newly introduced features with the existing features, I somehow needed to improve my metaprogramming code to another metaprogramming code so that it works well. And that's one example. And the second example is the optimization, which is more crazy one. So here, the 6th line, this line is a constant which stores each data store to achieve the interface of like DSL and the default value. So it's a pair. So attributes default value is the empty hash, key is nil, and so on and so forth. And so the class holds that data, but when we instantiate the resource object, we need to put the data from the class into the instance, right? Basically, we need to copy those data. Now we have 4 data, attributes here, key here, transform key here, and on error here. I didn't want to write 4 lines of code for this. So what I did was this. So we loop through the data, and then here, if its instance variable is not set, then they put duplicate initial data and then put it inside a class. So this is a class context. And later, here, here, no, sorry, this is not this one. What? Slash initialize. Yep. Here, here it uses send to its own class. Please give the data. Then put it inside the instance with instance variables set. It's also another form of metaprogramming. And here I use like each key or each, so like loop through, right? And I use public send here. The problem is that public send is slow. So if the number of DSLs is getting bigger and bigger, then it gets the problem, the performance problem. I wanted to solve it. So like now it looks like this. The name is changed. It's not DSL anymore because it's not DSL. So I changed the name to the internal variables, but it's long list. What I did was, it's really difficult. So please focus on this. So first, I create a part of the definition string, right? I need plus because it's not frozen. And then loop through that, and then we concatenate definition string partially like inside a loop. And after the loop, I put end inside a string. And now I can evolve this string so that I don't have to run loop for the definition or class send method here. So like the code, this line looks the same, similar as version 1, but it's more optimized. And finally, this method is a private method. It's named _setup. So it's not called yet. And we call it inside the initializer. Complex, right? Really complex. But I knew it's possible. And I knew that it's okay-ish. Well, I don't want to ask someone to maintain this code, but anyway, it works for me. Well, that was the example. So, lessons and thoughts. So, as you saw, I used some techniques to make my code better. But like, that was somehow called metaprogramming. Some techniques are really, they feel so obvious or natural to me, like send, for example. I don't think it's a metaprogramming now, but they call it metaprogramming anyway, right? So here are the techniques used in Alva. All of them are referenced in the book. Class extension, class instance variables, class macro, deferred evaluation, that's a proc, dynamic dispatch, send, dynamic method, like define method, hook method, inherited, and string of code is evil. Like I used it somehow in Alba's code base. But I didn't do that because it's cool. No, is it cool? Like the setup trick is cool. So like when I first came up with the code, I was like, ha! Like yes! So in Japanese, like it's kind of like we say it's kind of drug. Well, like drug to make cool metaprogramming technique. Anyway, I didn't do that because it's beautiful. It's ugly actually. Partially. I didn't do that because it's elegant, but I did it because I needed to. I need that special technique to make it even better, right? And importantly, before writing code, before starting the project, I knew what Alva should offer because Alva was meant to be improvement for active model serializers. And I knew that the implementation of AMS was not good enough, but I liked the interface. So I decided, I keep this interface, like attributes, many. That's okay. We are familiar with, right? By the way, I like DSL. I'm a big fan of DSL. So like I gave a talk in Singapore 2 years ago in the Red Dot Ruby conference. So like this talk is somehow related to this talk, right? So if you are interested in DSL, please check it out. Anyway, so in my theory, metaprogramming exists to support the defining or achieving good interface. So interface comes first, metaprogramming comes last. That's important. And so I want to ask this question. When should we use metaprogramming? Can you guess it? No. No, you don't. You don't have to. You don't have to. Especially when you develop Rails applications, no. Please don't put write method missing inside your app/module directly. Don't. If you are writing libraries, then it's fine. Or maybe. So seriously, when should we use metaprogramming? Well, first of all, we seriously definitely need it, and then we know that we cannot solve the problem otherwise. If that's the only way to do it well, then just do it. Of course, we need to understand what we are doing well, and the important thing is the last part. So the components with metaprogramming needs to be encapsulated and isolated from other parts of the code. Like you saw, inside initialize, I did really tricky thing, but it's encapsulated into the initialize method. It doesn't leak to anywhere else. So it looks similar to what we've already learned. The first topic sounds like case, keep it simple, stupid. The second thing is like, yeah, of course, like why do we want to do something we don't understand? And the last thing looks like the object-oriented thing, like the encapsulation is a core concept of OP, right? Do you think anything special here? But is metaprogramming special? Well, somehow, yes. It's tricky. But I don't think it's really special. But it hurts sometimes. Why? Because when we don't have enough knowledge about the Ruby itself, then it hurts. So please read Metaprogramming Ruby book first to do any metaprogramming, especially class model in Ruby is really complex. And of course, if you work on something you don't understand well enough, like if you just started to do something new, then maybe metaprogramming isn't the right solution. And also, of course, when you work on something that must be stable, so like interface and metaprogramming should be separated. So stable interfaces must hide metaprogramming back. Metaprogramming is the implementation details, right? The conclusion here. In metaprogramming book, this is a quote, there's no such thing as metaprogramming. So it doesn't exist. And I want to add a little bit. Programming is real. This is AI era. Still, programming is real. It's real. Metaprogramming isn't. So do not enjoy metaprogramming, but enjoy programming. Copy and craft.